Hello, my name is Monica Simpson, and I am the Executive Director of SisterSong. We're the National Women of Color Reproductive Justice Collective. And today we are here for a very intimate conversation. It's our Reproductive Justice Roundtable. And I am really excited to be joined here today by some of the nation's leading activists, organizers, and storytellers, really moving the work forward around abortion access and reproductive justice as a whole. We are also extremely excited and very honored to be in the home of Chrissy Teigen. She has been an ambassador for this work and really committed to using her power, her influence, and all that she can to really raise this issue to the forefront and really help as many people as possible see themselves reflected, but to also create space for activists and organizers to share about the work that they are doing to help more people around the world understand how to get involved. This work is so crucial and critical at this moment. The fight for bodily autonomy is something that we are all very familiar about. We all know is so important. People are voting on it. It is an issue at the ballot box. We know that. And we know we've had some victories, and so we want to honor the work of so many organizers across the country, like in Ohio and Virginia, that have moved the needle forward. But the work continues. And so it's important for us to use the power of storytelling, to use the power of these intimate type of connections and conversations to help people understand the issues and to help us understand how to get better involved. So I am very excited today to turn it over to the person that is letting us use her home and this beautiful space to have this intimate conversation. Chrissy Teigen, thank you so much.
Thank you. This is really exciting and really wonderful to have you guys here in this side of the house that we rarely use. This conversation, as you said, is really important, much needed. It's always been needed, but I think right now more than ever, it's really an honor to meet you all. You all come from such different backgrounds and hold such different titles. And I will say, I'm always so fiercely intimidated by incredible women like you guys. It's amazing that you're in my home, and I'm really excited to actually learn from you. I think I already had a few questions before we even started by some terms that I hadn't heard before or acknowledged before in life. And I'm excited to be able to learn from you guys, and hopefully the people that watch this are gonna hear some good stories. I never really had to do that before. I'm Chrissy. I am a mother of 4, a cookbook author, a fierce supporter and advocate for reproductive health and reproductive rights. And that's it, I guess.
Well, I think that we could even put it all into words, who you are to so many people. I think it would be really interesting to also say how we see you too. We see you as this powerful cultural ambassador, really. And to know that you've taken your passion for reproductive health and rights to the extent that you have to even create spaces like this really speaks to the power of that. And there are many folks who have been in the world of entertainment and things like that who have used their platforms for decades to bring this type of work to the forefront. And so you are walking in the legacy of that. And so we are very grateful that that is also a part of your story. So I wanted to make sure we added that to your bio, because that's an important piece to name.
That sounds wonderful.
You're very welcome. You're very, very welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's very kind.
Now we want to introduce the rest of the folks who will be joining us in this conversation today for this Reproductive Justice Roundtable. I'm very excited to give space to some of the most powerful people. I get to play with these folks all the time and organize with them and do really great work. And so we want you to know who they are.
My name is Kwajalein Jackson, and I serve as the Executive Director of Feminist Women's Health Center in Atlanta, Georgia. We are a reproductive health, rights, and justice organization that has been providing abortion care in the South since 1976. We also do gender-affirming care, gynecological care, outreach, advocacy, education, movement-building work across the Southeast. And I'm really happy to be in this space with you all to talk a little bit more about how the current climate around abortion and reproductive justice is affecting the South.
My name is Nancy Cardenas Peña. I use she, her, ella. I'm the campaign director for the Abortion on Our Own Terms campaign, and we do cultural work, conversations, one-on-ones around self-managed abortion care. And we can talk a little bit more about what self-managed abortion care is.
That was one of my questions.
Yeah, it's a really great question. And we talk about the criminalization of self-managed abortion care, how that access looks like. I'm from Texas, so that access can look a little differently from other states. And yeah, understatement, but the work continues, and I'm so honored and happy to be here.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Briana McLennan. I am the social worker with Texas Equal Access Fund. I've been with T-Fund a little over 5 years. Time is moving by so fast. So we have been an abortion fund since the early 2000s, but due to the landscape in Texas, we have transitioned to more reproductive care and reproductive justice. I provide emotional support to folks pre and post abortion, and I am here to also tell a little bit of stories about my own abortions as well. I've had multiple abortions, and I'm just so happy to be amongst this amazing group.
Thank you.
And my name is Kanaya Harris, originally from Louisville, Kentucky, but now based in DC and basically the DMV area. I do a lot of work with We Testify and Advocates for Youth. I'm a youth testify storyteller, so I tell my story, whether that's on the Hill or with politicians or at rallies. I also do a lot of campus organizing at American University. Right now we have a petition for emerging contraceptive vending machines, and we do a lot of work distributing emerging contraception on our campus. I've also spoke at like the White House and on the Hill for reproductive rights.
Thank you.
Thank you. What a pleasure to be here with so many amazing folks. My name is Dr. Jamila Perritt. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an OBGYN, fellowship trained in complex family planning, and an abortion provider in the city that I grew up in Washington, D.C. as well. I lead an organization as the president and CEO of Physicians for Reproductive Health. We're a network of more than 500 doctors and supporters around the country, really organizing and mobilizing healthcare providers using medicine and science to advance access to reproductive health for the communities we care for. We recognize and understand that as physicians, we have privilege and power. And that comes along with an obligation and an opportunity to shift the narrative around what it means to access this care in real life in our own communities, knowing that policy and legislation really shape the care that we can provide. So it really is an honor to be here, to spend this time with you all and to have this conversation.
All the titles, my God.
There's so many
See,
titles.
it's amazing.
There's so many titles. But the other thing I think
Incredible.
the other thing is really important to name, because we've heard a couple of different terms thrown around here, right? We've heard reproductive health, we've heard reproductive rights, we've heard reproductive justice, because this is the Reproductive Justice Roundtable. However, I think it's important for us to help people understand a little bit about what the differences between these frameworks and movements are, right? Because they all work together towards reproductive freedom ultimately, but they also kind of like operate in different ways. And so I think, Dr. Jamila, if you can tell us a little bit about, from the reproductive health perspective, like how would you like define that and categorize that particular frame and movement?
Sure. So reproductive health is what you think about in terms of care provision, right? So we're talking about scientists, researchers who build the body of knowledge, but then also clinicians and healthcare providers like me who take care of people in our communities. And so it really is used to talk about diseases or disorders, or really the total health and well-being of the functioning reproductive health system for all people. And it also includes, and this is sometimes forgotten about, really the mental and not just the physical health,
important.
right? The total and complete well-being. And so that's a little bit different than reproductive rights.
I'm so glad that you gave us the health part, because I don't think there's anybody on this panel who could give us a better definition of that than Dr. Jamila Perritt. And I also know that we all understand the reproductive rights framework, but I think that, you know, we share something really interesting, because we're both plaintiffs in a very important court case in the state of Georgia. We are trying to defend ourselves against the 6-week ban, and we are fighting fearlessly to do so, but we know that that's an uphill battle.
Absolutely.
But we've been definitely engaged in the reproductive rights side of that work because of that work. So can you help us, Kwajalein, understand a little bit more about the reproductive rights work as a frame? And
Sure,
movement?
I'd be happy to. So what we know is that our legislative systems, whether that is the federal level, the state level, the local or municipal level, have been writing policy that has dictated how the provision of services are able to be performed, whether that's regulatory the ways that they might inform how our facilities need to be, the kinds of training that different providers need to have in order to provide that care.
Right.
This has been an ongoing process over the course of several decades, really trying to, in many ways, diminish people's ability to access that care.
Right.
And so both the policy space and the court space, as Monica
Right.
alluded to, where folks have used litigation as a tool to try to protect access. So reproductive rights is really interested in like what are the ways that our rights are afforded or are diminished.
Absolutely. And that came into the national spotlight last year when everyone was waiting so anxiously to see what our Supreme Court would do, ultimately around the Dobbs decision, which led to, you know, such a devastating place that we're in, right? Roe v. Wade, which was a legal case, right, that gave us the ability to have legal access to abortion, right, was stripped away with that decision. So I think it's really important for people to understand how all these things work together. And then reproductive justice, right, this roundtable that we're a part of. This movement of reproductive justice was started by Black women in 1994. And it was started specifically because Black women and women of color and people of color were seeing and understanding that the ways that our bodies were under attack were a little bit different, right? From folks who may have come from privileged spaces or just not having to really deal with those overlapping layers of oppression that communities of color have to navigate every single day that impact our ability to make our own decisions about our bodies and our families and our futures. And so these Black women named reproductive justice as this movement combining like the work of the reproductive health and rights movements, but with social justice, right? So we could talk about how those very real social justice issues impacted our lives on a daily basis, right? And so they named this with these 4 core tenets: the human right to bodily autonomy, to the human right to be able to have the children that we want in the ways that we want. And so we get to really uplift the work of birth justice and birth workers and midwives and doulas and so many folks who make it so possible, right, for us to be able to have healthy pregnancies and healthy babies. The human right to not have children and to prevent or end pregnancies without shame, but with dignity, right? And this is very much about the abortion work, but also about access to contraceptives, access to, sex education, all the different things that we need to be able to make the decisions about whether or not we want to have a child or not. And then this tenet around the human right to parent our children in healthy and safe environments. That was so critical to this framework of reproductive justice, right? Because our children are living in these communities and under conditions right now. I mean, that could be a whole other roundtable, right? Of like what our children are up against right now. But it was really important for, those folks who came together, those 12 powerful Black women, some of them like Loretta Ross and Dr. Tony Bond and so many, and Abel Mabel Thomas, right? Out of Georgia too, for them to help us understand that we needed that more holistic, more intersectional way that we thought about our reproductive lives, in particular as communities of color. So for those of you who are watching this, please know there are so many different avenues and so many different ways to talk about and to organize around reproductive freedom. I found my movement home in the reproductive justice movement. I saw myself reflected very deeply in that work, and so that's what drives me. But there's so many ways for you to get involved in this work and to find your path to be able to be a powerful advocate around this work as well.
It's interesting that you brought up midwives and birthing centers and stuff because it's so under talked about in the U.S. I feel like whenever I explain that these things exist in, my mother's from Thailand, and in Asia they have so many different birthing centers and places for mothers to go for aftercare. And in the U.S. here we just don't have anything.
Yeah.
If anything, birthing centers were closing at incredible rates. And the care for mothers is so out the window, right? You're just like throwing this baby, you're left alone. You have no idea how to care for the baby, much less like yourself. So everyone kind of loses their mind, right? Which is why postpartum depression rates have like skyrocketed, and maybe with the awareness of it as well, I'm sure it's gotten high too. But yeah, I wish so badly that we had access to better aftercare and
Absolutely.
And I wish that doulas weren't just a hippy-dippy, like, crazy thing. I personally didn't have a doula.
Yeah.
But when you do hear about it, everyone's like, oh, a doula, how Hollywood, or how, like, hip, like, you must be, like, what do you like, crystals and energy and all this?
Yes, I do.
But, yeah, it's so, it's just interesting. I'm like, yeah, I do.
Yes, I do.
You do. Yes, I like them. Yes, I like all that.
And I think that, you know, it's important when we think about, right, the lack of midwifery and perinatal support care that in this country is not accidental.
That's right.
That was by design.
Absolutely.
Right? So
I
if we
would love
take
to
a
hear
look,
about that.
if we
Yeah.
take a look at the history of the American Medical Association and the American College of OBGYNs in particular, this was a concerted effort to discredit Black midwives in the South.
That's right.
Right? To stigmatize, to criminalize and discredit the folks who had been providing on the ground community-based care. So the lack of midwifery support, the lack of doula support is not accidental. It is absolutely by design, and it's tied to racial capitalism and a desire to build profit from the healthcare system. Right? It is
Absolutely
not
right.
community-based. And so I think that that's so interesting. The other thing that I think is really important to think about in terms of doula care in particular is that it didn't start out as a hippy-dippy thing.
It did not.
Right? It started
did
out as
not.
something that Black women who came together supporting people through birth in their communities. I think about my grandmother who delivered all of her children at home with a community of folks who helped supported midwives and doulas. At that point, she could not access hospitals in the state of Virginia because of segregation and Jim Crow laws.
Right.
But she had a community of folks that were helping her bring her children earthside.
And I think it's really interesting too because, you know, I think sometimes language becomes a barrier for folks, right? And I think that when we say doula, because it has been kind of co-opted to like, and painted in this way that's very woo-woo or so whatever, right? If we take the word away, what has been at the core of all of our communities, right, has been care, right? Like that's really what it is, that you have a person that is dedicated to the care of an individual that is pregnant and going through pregnancy and then going through birth. And that's really what a doula is. And so we want to, you know, use this as an opportunity in this very intimate space to break those things down for folks who are able to watch this and to really get engaged in this conversation. There are so many people out there that may not have never named themselves as a doula, but absolutely have been a doula. You know, I feel like I was my little sister's unofficial doula when she had my nephew. Shout out to Tamonte. That's my boo. And I was there, and I remember, you know, being there to support her, but also she had a birth experience that she wasn't satisfied with, right? And I didn't at that time have the language to really help, you know, navigate and help her, just guide her through that. And so I did go get training on that. And so I'm really excited for the work of grand midwives like Shafia Monroe, and, you know, who really was a great mentor to me in helping me understand how to be a better birth support to people, because I didn't want anyone else to have that experience. But that's really what doulas are, right? They're really those folks who are dedicated to helping people, and they're great organizations like Chanel Portia's organization, which is Ancient Song Doula Services. They train doulas. They make it possible for folks to get access to that information to be those birthing supporting people. You were about to say something though, Kwajalein.
Well, I was just thinking about how it's additionally harmful how the places where abortion has been the most restricted are also the places where birth has been the most overregulated and maternal mortality rates are the highest.
Absolutely.
So these things, to Dr. Perritt's point, are not disconnected from one another. And so I think oftentimes when people are advocating for abortion care, there's an idea in the general public that that is separate from birth, pregnancy, babies. But reproductive justice tells us that all of these things are deeply connected with one another.
Absolutely.
They're happening to the same people in the same bodies, in the same communities, the same families over and over again. And so places that are trying to offer prenatal services, midwifery, birth centers are often the same places where people are coming for contraceptive care, possibly abortion care, gender affirming care. So our movements, it's necessary for us to make sure that we're talking about all those things together and not abortion isolated as something that is off to the side.
Yeah. And when we think about our full spectrum doulas who help support people however a pregnancy ends.
Absolutely.
So doulas during labor, doulas support around miscarriage management and pregnancy laws. And we have wonderful in DC abortion doulas that come and support people that are having abortions.
I've never heard the term. I can't even imagine. I wish I had known that that was a possibility.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Because these things are connected to Kwajaleyn's point, right?
Absolutely.
Understanding that however your pregnancy ends, everyone deserves support, everyone deserves care, and to be able to navigate this process in a way that allows them to be whole and to do so with dignity.
Because all of this is healthcare, right? Like, I think that that's the thing that they try to do with this, with abortion. They try to separate it out like it's this bad thing, like it's this thing that needs to just feel some kind of way. And in particular for you all as storytellers, I know that that's something that you were battling all the time, like really helping to reduce the stigma of abortions. And so how does that look for you all, you know, in moving through communities and being out on the front lines, right? Like trying to really do the work to reduce the stigma.
Yeah, it can be really scary at times. I think that a lot of people don't even know like storytelling is a thing, right?
That's real.
They don't even know like where do I go? A lot of people are afraid to like tell their story, how to tell it, because there's just been so many situations where people will hear someone's stories and they'll flip it, you know, and they're kind of afraid of that. Like I want to have full control of my story, and so that's why I try to make sure, especially the stigma around multiple abortions, right? Like
That's so real.
I try to make sure I'm constantly telling my story because each abortion that I've had, it's been for many different reasons. And I felt different each time, you know? So I just try to make sure that I'm constantly talking about it. And I just want people to know, like, it's okay. Like, we love you. Everyone loves someone that's had an abortion,
That's
right? So I just want people to understand that.
Oh, I'm so grateful for your story. I think that that's going to help so many people. That's why storytelling is so important. And we're grateful for organizations like We Testify, right? Who's really leading in so many ways around like bringing these storytellers together and helping them build their power. Because I do think that there's so many folks out here, you know, every abortion story is different. And the way that media is set up, and the society is set up, sometimes it feels like they put this burden on folks who do have multiple abortions. But what you said is so powerful. Every abortion that you had was because it was a different reason. And they're all uniquely yours, right? And they're your story, and you should not have to deal with like the stigma of what that looks like. And so just thank you for putting that love out, you know, with your story for folks. I know it's gonna help so many people. How does it look for you?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the times in the DMV, a lot of people don't understand that there are still barriers because they're thinking of like the South, and there are barriers in the South. I'm from Kentucky, so I know about the barriers in Kentucky, but there are still barriers in DC. And a lot of times people look at DC as like this hub. They're like, oh, like DC is so liberal. Oh, like we don't have any stigma. And then trying to access like having an abortion in DC and just in the DMV in general was not easy. So a lot of times when I start talking about like how I self-manage, there's a lot of misconceptions, there's a lot of misinformation. A lot of people are like, oh, self-managing seems just so unsafe. And I'm like, no, actually it's like very safe. I was able to do it in my own home and be comfortable instead of going to like a clinic with so many angry protesters, so many
Protesters.
so many like
Crazy.
Yeah, and I was like, I was
They not
able.
have a job.
Yeah.
They not have anything else to do.
Well, they did on January 6th.
Well, they did on January 6th.
They did on January 6th.
They did. They had another place to be.
They did.
It was the nation's
and
capital.
I don't even say that in jest, because that day where the clinic is typically covered with protesters, it was empty. There was no one out front
'Cause they got
in
the
the
call.
clinic in DC because they were all down at the Capitol.
They got that call.
Yeah.
There's so much power in storytelling. Our stories are our fuel for our activism. They're the fuel for our passions. And storytelling is essential to this fight for abortion access. Today, we have three folks that are going to talk to us about their own personal stories. We have Nancy, we have Briana, and we have Kanaya. But we're going to start with you, Nancy, because I think that it's important for us to kind of like name something that we're going to hear kind of as a through line to all of these stories, and that is this notion of self-managed abortion. So before you dive into your story for us, can you help us understand a little bit about what self-managed abortion actually is?
Absolutely. And I had a self-managed abortion in Texas, and you know, we hear self-managed abortion a lot, and what is it? What does it entail? And so basically a self-managed abortion is an abortion procedure that happens outside of a clinic setting. So it can happen in the comfort of your own home. It can happen with your loved ones. It basically just means that you've taken it upon yourself to terminate your pregnancy. And there are a lot of ways to self-manage your abortion. The most common are medication abortion, which is a combination of two pills, which is mifepristone and misoprostol. Although people can take misoprostol alone and it's incredibly effective, both of these methods are very safe, very common, and people have been terminating their pregnancy since the beginning of time. There are cultural, spiritual
Right.
ways behind terminating your pregnancy. And for me, when I terminated my pregnancy and I had a self-managed abortion with medication abortion, it was a really powerful experience. I wanted to be able to decide how I did it, when I did it, and I was able to do that with a self-managed abortion.
How did you know that was an option? Because I know that none of my friends or me, I had no idea that that was.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest fights and one of the biggest struggles within our movement is information sharing. Information is power. We talk so much about it, and we definitely need to get information out there. But I was connected, and I was very fortunate to be able to be connected with people who had resources and the information, and that's how I was able to make that decision, because I felt that that was the best thing for me. And like I said, having a self-managed abortion made me feel incredibly powerful.
That's so powerful. Briana, I think that's a through line to your story too, right?
Yes, absolutely. I've also had a self-managed abortion. Just like Nancy stated, it's just you feel like you're in control, right? The autonomy is, for me, was very therapeutic. And so because I've had multiple abortions, I've also had a in-clinic abortion, right? This is a pre-Dobbs decision. We all know how Texas looks like in the landscape right now. So I kind of want to give a little background about that. When I did have my abortion in clinic, it was a little bit hard to find those resources. And this is before I did work at T-Fund. And I remember that I was just about to go to college and I did not have a job. And I just know, like, I just wanted to go to college, become this amazing social worker. And then I go to just do a regular checkup and then boom, like they were like, oh yeah, just to let you know you're pregnant. I'm like,
Uh-oh.
whoa, like I was not expecting this news at all, right? So it's very scary too. It's very scary. I come from a family that having sex before marriage is a no-no, right? Like, and then also with this abortion stigma, like I consider my family like very old school. So it's just like, I didn't have anyone to talk to. I was very afraid. And so little did I know, the organization that I work for now, T-Fund, was actually the organization that helped me with my in-clinic abortion. So to be able to work with them and work with clients around that is a very also therapeutic experience. And now, you know, after Dobbs' decision, I did also have a self-managed abortion. And it was a little scary as well. I think the two differences when it comes to that is that when you're in clinic, you do have the capability of talking to in-clinic staff. So you do feel a little bit more comfortable. For me, it was pretty, you know, quick, but also I remember you like stating that the antis are out there, like they are right there when you get out the car. So that could be pretty intimidating, especially if it's your first abortion. So for me, having a self-managed abortion to be in the comfort of my own home was just, it was very peaceful. I decided to do it alone because me and the partner at the time was not in a very great place. And I felt great. Like, I was happy. Like, it was definitely one of those things where I knew this is something that I wanted to do, and I was happy that I was able to do it. So with me being a We Testify storyteller, like I always want to talk about like how safe self-managed abortions are, and also just letting folks know, again, there are resources available. And I was able to also get a self-managed abortion and get medication pills through the resources in my community.
That's so powerful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I also self-managed my abortion. I self-managed in May, so post-Dobbs pretty recently. I found out a week into my pregnancy, and I remember I was going through my finals. I was like panicking. I started noticing changes in my body, and I was very nauseated, and I was like, okay, if I'm, you know, doing the timing right, I could be pregnant. And I remember I took my pregnancy test, and I remember I also had a final that day. Like, it was due that night. And I was like stressed, like, I was like, well, like, it's most likely going to be negative, so you're going to be fine. And I remember we were taking the pregnancy test, and it came out positive. And I was like, you have 10 minutes to panic, and then you have to do this final. And I remember like looking for like clinics, looking for like appointments in the DMV area. And it was really hard to find appointments. A lot of them were a month out. And I was like, I want to get this done now. I don't want to wait a month. I was looking through like my options. I was like, if you want to terminate the pregnancy, if you want to go through the pregnancy, what are your options? But it was really hard because I couldn't get an appointment. I was looking not only in DC, but Maryland and Virginia, and still couldn't find an appointment. And I think a lot of times people are like, oh, like, you're in the DMV, you're not in Kentucky. So like, you should have like access, you should have these things. Like DC is so like liberal and everything. And just going through the process, I was like, this is not easy. So I remember I ended up reaching out to people that I knew like in the movement, and I got connected to Retestify, and they supported me through my abortion. They helped me to go through my abortion. They helped me after my abortion. And obviously I'm still with them today. And I think a lot of times there is a lot of stigma. I remember like just getting post-abortion care in Maryland. There was a lot of stigma about like me having an abortion, a lot of questions like, well, why did you want to do that? Or like a lot of people like saying like, oh, it's unsafe. And I heard like my OBGYN was like, oh, that's so unsafe. Like, why would you do that? And I was like, actually, it was very safe, and because it was my decision. And yeah, like you were saying, I just didn't want to deal with protest stories. I didn't want a lot of people to know. I'm still in college, but I was a junior in college at the time, and I was hiding my pregnancy. I was wearing like trench coats in the summertime, trying to hide my pregnancy, and I just didn't want people to know, and I didn't want to deal with protesters, so I decided to self-manage. And I self-managed through the medication, and I took the Miffy and Miso, and I felt relaxed and comfortable in my home. I remember I was eating like Cheetos and watching TV, watching a lot of like shows, and my friends like would stop by and people would call me. And yeah, it was just a very like unique experience, because just doing this work, a lot of times I never thought like, oh, like I was gonna have an abortion. And then when I like decided to have an abortion, I was like, okay, now I'm more educated in this movement, and now I know what to do. I can help others. Because I think a lot of times it's the lack of education. Me coming from Kentucky, I didn't have sex education. I didn't learn a lot of things that some people may know, and a lot of people that go to my school didn't have sex health either. So now that I'm doing this work, I've learned like how to get pills. I've done like partnerships with Plan C, work with like Retestify and Advocates for Youth to make sure that we're educating youth on how to get abortions, so, educating youth on emergency contraception, educating youth on just resources in the DMV. And I think just being a part of this movement has been very beautiful. I know you were also talking about like Retestify being a family. So just me telling my story, I feel like it's just a way for me to send like a love letter to like my community, and letting people know like this is okay. Like there's a lot of stigma. A lot of people are going to like say like, oh, like you should feel ashamed of like your decision, but it's a very powerful decision. And just being around like other storytellers, it makes you feel inspired to be in this movement and continue to do work for those that may not have a choice, or for those that are thinking about having an abortion. So yeah, I just think just being a storyteller and just being within this movement has just been so beautiful.
Thank you so much. Briana, Kanaya, Nancy, thank you so much for your stories. They are powerful, they're filled with intentionality, they're filled with love, they're filled with care, and you just show us so much of how much people can see themselves in your stories. And I think this whole conversation around storytelling has become so urgent and so necessary in this moment, because we got hit with this huge Dobbs decision that made national, international news, right? Because we got to a point with the Supreme Court that decided to remove this legally protected right of abortion in this country. But, you know, if we take that back a little bit further, right, we have been fighting for abortion access. Many people thought that with Roe v. Wade, that everything was done, right, and that we were good, right? But that's actually not the case. We have been fighting for abortion access for decades upon decades. And it's looked so different in our communities. And I know in particular, Dr. Jamila and Kwajalein, you all, because of your being, these practicing physicians, because you were working so hard on the front lines with these independent clinics, you all see the complicated nature of this, right? From how folks think that this fight just started to how folks think that, self-managed abortion is this or what is that? Like, I think there's so many swirling questions for folks. What are some of the things that you all can help us unpack about this moment that I think would, help folks really understand what's at stake right now?
I think that if you take anything away from this conversation, it should be that abortion is safe.
Period.
However you have your abortion, whether it's a self-managed abortion, it's an in-clinic abortion, if it's procedural, if it's medication abortion, abortion is safe and abortion is effective. And so if you don't remember anything else, remember that. And it looks different depending on who you are, where you live, what your resources are. The decision to be pregnant or not, to parent or not, is shaped by the context of our lives, the context of our communities. People ask often, why do people have abortions? What is the main reason why someone wants to end their pregnancy? And the reasons are so many. I could not give you one. As variable as the people who need abortion care are as variable as the stories that we hear for people that are seeking this care. Abortion is usually done pretty quickly, right? So it's not a long, drawn-out process. Most people are able to manage and care for themselves at home, in the comfort of their home, as we saw with these storytellers, or even after having a clinic-based abortion, to go home and to be cared for in that way. It's normal to have cramping, it's normal to have bleeding, however you have your abortion, but it is overall very, very safe, and I think that's important for people to understand for sure.
Absolutely. Kwajalein, what's showing up on your front?
Well, one of the things I wanted to name, because all of the storytellers mentioned how difficult it was to get access to abortion in clinic. And there are lots of reasons why that is true, in part because of the many regulations and policy changes that have affected the way we're able to offer that care in clinic. Right. And so whether that is a Planned Parenthood clinic or an independent provider that is sort of working in their community, those providers are working within the very different laws that affect each state and municipality. So waiting periods, mandatory reporting, consent laws, like all of those things affect how easily people are able to access clinic care. And those have exacerbated after Dobbs. Many clinics have closed because states have instituted full abortion bans, total bans with no exceptions. Right. In Georgia, we have a ban that would limit abortion care after the point at which fetal cardiac activity is detectable via ultrasound. So that is around 6 weeks. And so every person that we see, we have to do an ultrasound on them, and we have to make sure that if there is any cardiac activity that we can see, we have to turn them away. They'll have to leave the state. They'll have to seek care somewhere else. And so we are certainly seeing that this is a reality across the South, across the Midwest. So places like Washington, D.C. have long waiting periods because so many people are traveling from around the country in order to get care in the places where it is legally protected.
That's so important to name. Thank you so much, Kwajalein, for helping people understand that with all these many bans, like there's too many to even name, right, at this Reproductive Justice Roundtable. There's so many bans, there's so many restrictions across this country, and that's driving people into these now, haven states, in this DC area, right?
Yeah, I agree. And also, I don't want us to have the misconception that any place is safe or that any place is a haven, right?
That's very
in
real.
DC in particular, this is critical because we don't have statehood. And so we don't have the ability to make decisions about how our own money is spent, to have autonomy over the decisions and legislations that are made. No place is safe. It doesn't matter if it's red, if it's blue, if it's purple. We are all at risk. And to Kwajaleин's point, we're now at the point where there are 21 states that have either completely banned abortion or have restricted it so severely, as it's done in Georgia, where it is essentially unavailable to people who need it. And these bans are not impacting communities equitably. And so we know that some folks are bearing the brunt of these restrictions. Wealthy people, resource people will always have abortions. They've always had it, whether it was illegal or not. They've always had it, whether it was safe for them and unsafe for the rest of us. But folks with lower resources, folks who are young people, those who are immigrants, undocumented people who cannot travel oftentimes,
Right.
even within the state, much less out of the state.
Right.
LGBTQ folks living in rural communities
Yes.
feel the brunt of these restrictions because we are already marginalized from healthcare systems more broadly. So when
right.
we think about the impact of these bans, who is paying the price, then we know that it's always going to be those who are struggling, those who have less resources that are really paying the price. And then we also see the impact on healthcare providers.
Right.
And so for doctors like me who are in places where these restrictions are actually attempting to criminalize the care that we provide. So instead of taking care of people in real time, we're on the phone with lawyers trying to decide, is it okay for me to help this person manage their miscarriage? This person comes in bleeding, experiencing pregnancy loss. Am I going to be liable? Am I going to be arrested? Will my license be in question if I take care of this person because there is cardiac activity present? So what it does is it pits patients against providers here.
Yeah.
And so instead of showing up to your doctor, instead of showing up to the healthcare center to see your nurse, your clinician in any way, and them thinking about you primarily, instead, we're balancing the risk to ourselves. And that is no way to provide care. That's not medicine.
way.
That's not care.
And that's so unfair for the patient. It's so unfair for the provider. Like, it just doesn't create a safe environment for folks to thrive in.
Exactly.
Right? That's really what we're up against right now. So the work continues, right, folks? Like, we're going to continue to have to grapple with these contradictions. We're going to have to continue to create more safe spaces for many more stories to emerge so we can understand, like, all of the complexities and also all of the ways that we can build out better solutions with each other. That also comes from our stories. That's the importance of these types of conversations. So we're going to keep that work going for sure. I found my political home in the reproductive justice movement. And one of the things that this really expansive, powerful, intersectional framework allows me to do is to lean into all parts of who I am. And one part of who I am is a creative and a cultural strategist, so to speak. And I think it's really important for us to use the power of culture shift to really create cultural interventions that help people see themselves, hear themselves, and then move them towards powerful action. And so this work of creating this reproductive justice roundtable is an example of what culture shift work is all about. It's about bringing powerful voices together in intimate ways to really help to move a conversation in a really interesting and hopefully intimate way for folks to be able to be activated. And everybody around this table made that possible today. But one person in particular made it extremely possible for us because she opened her home to us to be able to have this conversation. And so, Chrissy, what was important for you when thinking about creating this type of space and co-creating this space with all of us today?
Well, I never get this kind of opportunity, honestly. John and I get to do a lot of events together, and you get to briefly meet and say hi to people, and you hear their title and you hear the incredible work that they do, but it's so brief and fleeting. Maybe you'll get an email from them a few months later, like, let's catch up again. But these moments never really happen. They especially don't happen in my home, so I feel very lucky and blessed that you guys are all here today to teach me so much, to teach everybody here so much, to share your stories. I just have always thought that the more we talk about things, the more the stigma is reduced. When things happen to us as a family, I share that. And in my little world, the world that we've created, the friends that we have, the family that we have, it's very common to share a lot of details about your life. So when I share things that seem like maybe an overshare to a lot of people, for me it's really normal. And I don't get a lot of pushback, of course. They're my friends, they're my family. And so I never really realized that once it's out in the world, how much we are gonna get back negatively. So it's always really interesting to me to talk about things and then to see that maybe I've pissed somebody off or people didn't agree, or because in my little world, everyone kind of, it's a very talked about thing to go through IVF or to go through a miscarriage and to talk about it. So it's always really amazing to me when people are able to come up to me and say that, we've been able to help change the conversation or open the conversation, and I don't know, I'm lucky enough to have the platform to do it, and I'm tough enough to be able to take everything that comes with it too. Now, I wasn't always that way. And working in an industry where I didn't get to speak very much or have a say in things, that now that I've grown and I have 4 children now and I've been through the ringer with so many different things, that people get to hear my story and I get to tell it myself, and hopefully, and honestly, when people get to come up to me and share their stories, I think it's beautiful. It's so wonderful to have that bond with people, and that people, I can tell that, when they come to me with tears in their eyes, I know that we're going to connect in some way, despite how different our lives are, or we live in different places, or our backgrounds are so different. It's I love being able to create this space for people to be able to talk about their journeys.
Yes, and it's been such a powerful space for each and every one of us. I'm sure I can say that for all of us in this moment. So thank you again for creating that. And that in itself is a powerful action, right? To create intentional spaces for people to learn, to share, and to grow with one another. So I'm hoping that more people like you will join in on this type of work with us and helping to create those intimate spaces, and thus being able to use those powerful platforms to help spread the message even further.
Because there is so much room for it. I think a lot of people, they hear the news all the time. They're like, there's nothing that I can do personally. But with this kind of stuff, there is stuff that you can do, whether you have had an abortion or not. The kind of work that you guys get to do is really, really beautiful and important and real. It's real work that isn't up in the air, like, and your money that you donate to causes that help fund reproductive health care and stuff, that goes somewhere and that helps somebody. And it is important for me that people realize that there are people behind this. When something is overturned like this, there's people that are really, really actually affected by it. And we are able to give faces to those stories. And they're not just crazy stories that you hear about, they happen to us. So it's important that we have our stories and are able to show that there's real people behind these tall tales that you hear about. So
That's so real.
Yeah.
That's so real. So there's so much action that we want folks to take. There's so many things that people can do. There's so many ways to get involved. Chrissy's giving us one powerful example of how to do that and how to use your platform to do that. Kwajalein, what can you leave the folks with in terms of like great next steps or action that you would like to see them take?
The first thing I would say is to not count the South out. I know
Absolutely.
that when we see laws change dramatically and we see clinics close, we decide that sometimes is a foregone conclusion, and maybe there just will never be abortion care in Alabama, in Mississippi, in Louisiana, in Texas. But we know that there are powerful organizers and activists and advocates, former providers, who really deserve our attention, our investment, and our support. And so I would encourage folks to not just pour their resources into the places where abortion has been protected, but to remember the people who unfortunately have been left behind by the ways these laws have landed. So finding your local abortion clinic, your independent clinic, finding your local abortion fund, and making sure that you can get engaged in that way. Finding a political home where you live. We want things to change on the federal level, but so many things happen so quickly at the local and state level.
That's very real.
And so people have a lot of access to influence the positions of power where they live.
So powerful. Nancy.
You know, I think when we talk about the fall of Roe, we talk about the Dobbs decision, we go into, how terrible it is for our communities. And I think it's true. I mean, of course, there are terrible restrictions in place, but I think it presented us with this amazing opportunity. It was a blank canvas to dream about a world where we can access abortion care no matter what, no matter your immigration status, no matter your zip code, no matter your sexuality. Abortion care should be available for everyone. And you should be able to decide what care looks like and what works best for you. And that's the kind of world that I'm working for. And I think if folks want to get involved, no matter where you're from, I think Dr. Perritt said it best. There are no safe havens. There's always work to be done in communities because community is safety. Our safety is not with our courts. Our safety is not with politicians. There is no law, there is no bill that can guarantee our safety and our access to abortion care. And if folks would want to know more about self-managed abortion care, they're always more than welcome to visit our site, Abortion on Our Own Terms. And if folks are interested in, learning about the legal aspect of this, there's the Repro Legal Defense Helpline. And of course, there's the miscarriage and abortion hotline for folks who are interested in having someone to walk with them through that experience.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Briana.
I know I said this before earlier, but I just want to say everyone loves someone who's had an abortion.
Absolutely.
Okay. I encourage folks to even say the word abortion. I don't think we hear it enough.
I agree.
Right? I realize since I am talking to clients and providing them with emotional support, they have told me many of times that when they shared their story, then they realized that their mother had an abortion, their sister, their friend, their cousin, and they became even more intimately close in that way.
Yes.
So you never know who's been in your shoes before unless you tell your story. Also, I just want to do a plug-in for my organization, T-Fund. We have a text line, 844-T-Fund, or you can go to tfund.org. If you are looking for an emotional support group, pre or post your abortion, please definitely reach out to us. We would love to have you. We're doing so many fun different things. And we also want people to know abortion is not about sad things, right? We can have fun around it, right?
Yes.
It's so many other things that it intersects with. So I just want y'all to understand that the resources are out there. Like you said, don't count us out. Please don't. We have so many resources available. So and we definitely are a community, and we are wanting you all to know that we are willing to do everything that we can to help you in this fight.
Beautiful. Kanaya.
Yeah, I guess going off of that, I know one of the storytellers I met during the summer once told me that we suffer in public for those who suffer in silence. And I think a lot of times, with storytellers, we'll not put it the forefront of the movement, or people don't want to listen to us. We all have unique stories. We're coming from different places, different backgrounds. So just listening to abortion storytellers and listening to working people, I know just being in college, a lot of times people want to offer advice. And sometimes you don't want advice, you want someone to listen. Yeah. And I think that's just crucial if you're on a college campus, making sure that you're looking into resources in your area. If you want to get involved in this movement, looking at the abortion funds that you may have in that area, looking at ways that you can partner with some of the clinics, looking at different social media partnerships that you have. I know at my school, my organization, Students for Change, we have a partnership with Plan C, and we post information about medication abortion and
I've never even heard of Plan C.
I know.
I really haven't, and I'm
So many people need to know about these things.
Yeah, I thought I was pretty in the know with things.
Yeah, and I feel like
I
there's
didn't know about self-managed abortions. I didn't know about Plan C.
So much.
Everyone starts somewhere,
Yeah.
That's it.
the important thing is that you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just going off of that, everyone does start somewhere, and I know a lot of people don't know. I know with my school, we got donated Plan B from Plan B, and a lot of people didn't know, that's an option. You can work with these organizations to get abortion contraception. You can reach out to these organizations. A lot of times they want you to reach out so you can have partnerships and stuff.
Powerful.
And with us being on the college campus, especially in DC, there are a lot of opportunities for us to reach out to people so that we can distribute resources. And I just think if you're trying to get involved in this movement, making sure that you're trying to be educated, making sure that you're not promoting misconceptions, making sure that you're not pushing the stigma, making sure that you're listening to working people, because like you said earlier, we're the experts of our own stories. And you perpetuating I need to give you advice. Like I said, a lot of us just want people to listen, and we don't need your constant validation or anything else. We want to make sure that we're pushing educational resources, that we're supporting each other, that we're supporting working people in general. So yeah, if I could just leave on that note, I think making sure that we're listening to each other.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Dr. Jamila.
Thank you. So much has come up for me, I think. You know, if I had to pick a thing, it would really be the thread that's running through what I've heard you all say, that there is a role in this work for everyone.
Yes.
It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter your profession. You don't have to be an abortion provider. You don't have to have had an abortion to be in this fight. What we're dealing with now with the fall of Dobbs is a tipping point. There have been decades since 1973 where Roe was essentially unavailable to many, many people.
That's right.
We began to see the chipping away of this constitutional right as early as 1975 with the Hyde Amendment that eliminated access to abortion for those relying on government insurance. But now we're at the point where it isn't just poor folks. It's not just rural folks. It's not just black and brown folks. It's not just undocumented folks that don't have access to this care. Everyone's right is in jeopardy. And so the question, to Nancy's point, is now we have an opportunity to build something new. What will we build? Who will we center in this fight? Will we continue to call for the return of Roe, legislation that was useful in many places, but did not serve those on the margins of care? Or will we dream of a new world where everybody gets to be free? A liberatory care system that serves us all. And so that is my hope, that's my aspiration, but in order to do that, you have to look at your own positionality, figure out what it is for you to be able to bring. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. There are organizers on the ground who have been doing this work for decades. Tap into those resources, support those people who have been organizing, and really do it in a full throttled way. We need everyone in this fight right now.
Thank you all so much for being a part of this very first Reproductive Justice Roundtable. It was powerful, full of so much, and you all ended us on such a powerful note on just giving people so many different ways to get involved and so many things to remember as we're taking this fight forward. And what is also very real is that we want to continue to do these types of things. And so my call to action for those who are watching this is for you to share this in as many places as you can. Help us find new people to have these conversations with. Chrissy was so brave and so powerful to be the first one to have this type of conversation with leaders and folks on the front lines around these particular issues, around our sexual and reproductive health rights and justice issues. We need to have more of these. More stories need to come forward. We need you all to help us make that possible. Also, the doors of the movement are open for reproductive justice. You can find so much information about this work, so much information about this movement at sistersong.net. You can become a member. You can join in on our new visions for reproductive justice work, because we are building that work where we are all able to see liberation in our lifetime. So whether you are committed to voting rights, whether you're committed to environmental justice or economic justice or whatever, LGBTQ liberation, all of these movements come together in our fight for bodily autonomy and our fight to be able to make our own decisions about our bodies and our families and our futures. And that is the framework that reproductive justice gives us in order to make all of that a reality. So thank you all so much, and we look forward to being in the fight with you and continuing to create a world where reproductive justice is not only what we're fighting for, but it is our lived reality. So this fight is urgent, and this fight is something that we are all deeply committed to, and we want you to be committed to this fight with us. And we are all working together so that reproductive justice is not just something we're fighting for, but it is our lived reality. Thank you all so much, and we will see you in the work.